This week's episode, we're going to be doing a band drive. This one right here. But this isn't a band drive from Athearn. This is a band drive actually made by Lionel. True story. I didn't know it. But we're going to find out about what makes this work, how to get it fixed and running again, and a little bit of history behind the Lionel HO locomotives that they made for a little bit there. I'm Ron, Classic Model Trains. So let's take a little gander at this thing right here. It doesn't have any railings, nor does it have any holes drilled in for the stanchions for the railings. Down here it says Lionel Corporation, New York, New York. Made in U.S. of America. And then you can kind of see the jack shafts in here. This thing is dirty. Of course they always are. Built by Lionel. Looks like we can pull this off, get in there and look, oh, what do we got going on here? I wonder if this was originally around that part. It sure doesn't need to be in the lighted area. And this is what appears to be a band drive. What a nightmare. I wonder if it runs. I mean, the motor, will it pick up juice and do juice things? Let's throw it on the track and take a look just to see, just because. It could be fun. We're going with a hard no. Oh, wait, lights did something. So we got dirty wheels. I'm surprised that it's got, so these wires are loose. I don't see that motor even trying to do anything. And we got it open, sure. There's just a lot going on here. This wire here, it ain't going nowhere. So we're only working with half pickup. Need more pickup. Them bulbs, I ain't never seen one like that before. This whole thing, it feels spindly. Get out my three favorite tools here. Phillips, standard, needle nose. I do see one bolt up in here. And I think that that's going to release our motor. And sure, now this is getting pickups from the trucks. Let's go into the lights. There ain't no magnet in that thing, and it doesn't turn very freely. These guys here, they're loose. They're loosish. That one was. This one's on a lot better. Wonder what that is. Is that just some fuel line? Yeah, that's some rubber fuel line or vacuum hose, and it is hard and brittle. These are dirty, dirty, dirty. Look at these cute little guys. Sure. Let's get this out of the mix here if we can. Okay, well, that made that easy to get into and work on. I'm guessing these screws here are going to drop our trucks down. That's exactly what it feels like is getting ready to take place. Little brass bolts that look like that. See if we can get this wire out of here. Come on, there. So this is the ground. This is the picking up on the other side. What is keeping that thing in there? Okay. Right here's plastic sleeves going over that. Oh, man. And I read that those can get super brittle. You got to take these off right here and here in order to get this jack shaft out with the worm gears on it, because you got to put a rubber band underneath there. I wish you could slide them off, but it doesn't have that. It doesn't look like it. It's like you got to spread it. It's got to be all the way. Oh no. How's a guy going to deal with that? I just don't like it. This is terrible. And you really got to open those up too. And it doesn't look like there's any flex at all. What's a guy to do? Careful pry. Bend and push and pry. Come over here. Oh, am I getting The tiniest little bit of something. Good Lord. Come on. Oh, so now I'm just going to fight it back and forth, back and forth. Great engineering, boys. You really outdid yourselves here. Especially for something that needs rubber bands replaced quite a bit. Will this work? I don't think so. Looks like it's a little big. It's sort of working. I twisted it sideways. Oh. Okay, so there's that. So that did kind of work. Oh. I think I lucked out. They came off. I was a little abusive. We need to clean all this up. Of course, it's going to be done with mineral spirits to get the grease and scubby out of here. You see, we can turn this chassis into something. All this stuff is like super, super dirty. So I think I'm going to put it in the ultrasonic. I mean, that's what I bought it for, was to make things easier on a feller. The coupler, here, these are hold the couplers in, and they're unbelievably long and excessive. I'm not even sure if they're a spring steel. Didn't act like it. Come on now. It's one of those, you get it off and then it hooks again, and then you work it, and then it hooks again. So what do we got? We got, okay, that's quite a different coupler because it's got a pin. Instead of the pin being in the draft box, it's on the coupler. And that's going to make it really, really hard just to put something different in. So we're going to have to modify, to put some Cadies on it. It's too bad if it did, because if it had a pin there, it would have been just fine. So we'll probably have to end up drilling and tapping and then put a 256 in. That's what I believe is going to happen. Here's the top of the coupler. Yeah, these aren't spring steel at all. So I can just bend them. Real easy. So I'm going to mix up a solution of simple green. I think I'll put the trucks and the smaller stuff in one bag. We don't need these because they're not working. Put the frame in one bag. This guy here, I guess we will take him apart by hand. That magnet ain't got no magnetism to it whatsoever. There's nothing here, so we're going to remag that because we can. We got the technology. I'm going to do this for a very short time because I don't want to clear any of the paint off. I don't want the color to go away. Got everything disassembled on the trucks. Never did break any of those little things there. Maybe I read that and maybe one guy had a bad one that was brittle. These ones seem to be quite flexible for now. That bolts the motor in, so there's all that. What if I should just throw the motor in there too? I just don't know. So those screws are only in there just the tiniest bit. Yeah. Little 3-pole. Couple thrust washers in there. This bushing is kind of stuck on there some. That came out of the, oh yeah, the end plate. Great. The magnets, we're going to remag this. So it's, there's the brushes. Ooh, they're not, boy, that magnet, they went all out on it. There's no expenses spared on that. I think these plates are swedged in right there. I was just able to break it loose on this side, but it's filthy. Put that all in there. Thrust washer. Bushing that should not have fell out. Another thrust washer. We'll wash those by hand. I don't want to lose those. It's too bad that that's only a 3-pole. We'll wash the brushes by hand too. Hopefully this bag don't got a hole in it. Let's find out. Yes? No? Yes? So far, so good. Right on. Get that in there and get that warming up. Went and scored a brand new baggie for the frame. The chassis. Seems like the heavier the stuff that goes in them, the more you got the ability to poke a hole in it. Little taste like that, sure. Now we wait for the ultrasonic to heat up. Here's the new ultrasonic cleaner that I got here. And it is the slowest heating one. It's got the knobs just like the other one did. And, you know, it's like they just put a different sticker on it with a different name and imported it. But it's so slow. Goodness gracious, it's been like an hour now. Where are we at? Yeah. Golly, we gotta get getting. We're gonna do a minute. Do a little bit, just some. The little parts bag, it's the dirtiest. It's got some nasty looking stuff in it. We're gonna pour it through that screen right there so little parts won't get lost in the bucket down there. Sure. Give them a little rinse. And this is definitely a lot faster than Q-tipping it. Let it dry. Now, if I would have actually warmed up the ultrasonic cleaner like 2 hours before I needed it, this would have taken a lot faster. But then I had an opportunity to watch a couple videos on the old YouTube. Let this stuff dry, make sure it's clean. We might have to do a little touching up on it. Be time for reassembly soon. This frame lost a significant amount of its color. It's back down to, it was black. It was greasy, but it was black. I just cleaned it up with the mineral spirits. We're gonna hang it on this wire, and I'm gonna take some outside, get it all degreased and cleaned up, and then I'm going to re-blue it with some gun bluing chemical so we can get it back to a more consistent color of being black. We got these little groovy wheels right here. Fit your Dremel, so the little wires don't come up and get you. These trucks, I cleaned them up with the older mineral spirits after they went through the ultrasonic cleaner, and the wheels have got some pitting on them. So this is supposed to be a really good way to clean and polish these up. And we're not going to get the little stickers in us. Sure, polished, not polished. One of these was actually pitted. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Look at this, like it was buried in the sand or something like that. Are we gonna be able to clean it up? Sure looks like it, yes. I mean, it's not gonna take care of the pits, but it's got them polished. I'm gonna go through and do this to all the wheels, get those ready to go. Gun bluing chemical, Perma-Blue. I got this at the Cabela's, or the Bass Pro Shops. You can order it from Amazon. Rumble paintbrush. Did I stir that? Did I mix that? I probably didn't. Okay. Is it gonna work for us? I'm not seeing a lot going on right here, I gotta tell you. Kind of disappointed. Not gonna lie. They want us to put it on, rinse, let it dry, and repeat. So I'm going to keep doing this until we get something that looks like it might be black. This one says 059 621. Maybe just a part number. More than likely not a born-on date. Did I grab the right chemical out of there? And there ain't nothing has taken place. Super disappointing. We'll keep working on it here. Well, that bluing ain't doing anything for this chassis. So I can only assume that it's made out of something different. It's maybe the Zamic, and then that doesn't work on it. What I'm gonna do is, I know juice flows through here and here from the trucks, and then in this area here for the motor to pick up the ground, here and here. I'm gonna clean them up, I'm gonna put some tape over them, and then I'm gonna give it the kind of action, is what we're gonna do. Let's make this part right here really pop. Looks like it's full of debris. I like seeing stuff that says made in America, just because so much isn't anymore. Sure? Yep. Now get the tape on it. Everything's taped up where it's going to pull up the juice at. So now it's time to, we got some satin canyon black on it. I'm going to take it outside, spray it, bring it in here, let her dry. Here's the pieces of the motor here. Here are these two, these guys. I got the brushes soaking over here. They had some scoob, some ick on them. A couple thrust washers here. All this stuff kind of fell out when we took it apart. This bushing here came out of this area. Why it did this, I don't know. Maybe I should put it back in from this side. Ah, she's loose. Thrust washers, one here, one in here. Come on now. Oh, sure, falling off. Quit. Put these brushes in. One end is smooth, one end's got that little thing on it. I did clean up the commutator. I put these in with the line going down. I don't know how well this is gonna work. The magnet's got some magnet to it. If I could pull those things up out of the front, I would. But can I? Because it'd be a lot easier to drop these in from the outside. Let's give this just the tiniest taste of oil right here on that thrust washer. Tiniest little taste there. Where's the back plate? We're missing stuff here. Here it is. Get these guys to hold it all together. But that motor just barely turns. What I do is I want to come down in here and get that spring, capture it, lift it up, so I could put the brush in. So there it is. So there's one. If I can do that again, today's a good day. This motor's, it's stiff. I can just tell, I can feel it. I'm gonna try this and see what we're gonna get out of this. Just something to loosen it up or something. What's going on? Is it because of these? Are they too tight? Are they too loose? That one's stripped on me because it's not long enough to go into the plate. Let's hook it up to a transformer and see what she'll do. Throw a little juice to this thing and see what happens. Tight. Noisy. My goodness. Wonder if I just let her buck. She might come around. Maybe it needs a little wearing in or something like that. Holy moly, that's bad. About 25, 30 seconds later, she really smoothed out quite a bit. Go the other way. Where are we at here? She doesn't, 20%'s not happy. But it is turning. 25, a little better. I still want it to set in a little bit here, then we'll magnetize that again and see if she's a little more ready to play. Here's the remagnetizer. Every time I bring this out, people are going, well, where'd you get that? What's that all about? I did a whole video on this. This is a Ronald Dodd demagnetizer. The feller lives out there in the UK, and he makes these things and sells them. Look up, Google Ronald Dodd remagnetizer. Look it up on YouTube. There's videos of them out there. My own video. It also shows where to get them at. We got to find the north side of this thing. Is it this one? So there's the north. And that's got to go in like this. And this. And get that out of the way. And then we nail it. We do it when it's in there. Then these metal keeper plates do a good job of holding her all together. Am I doing too much? Maybe. I don't. Can you put too much magnetism in? I don't know. But I know I do like it when it does that when it's all said and done. Now, let's see if this thing will run better at 20%. Not really. Maybe some. If it's got torque at this, that wouldn't be too shabby. If it was a 5-pole, it'd be a lot better. You can see the individual poles actually being drawn in and then attracted and then unattracted, distracted. So yeah, what do you expect for a, who knows, 59, 61? It's not even a Pitman motor. Very small little feller. More bench time like this, then we'll start the assembly. Now we've washed the body, and I did the old brush trick on it, on this side. And this side, it hasn't had it yet. And this part back here has, but up here hasn't. So you take the old boot brush, a clean one, a new one. Don't use one that's been, you know, forever and ever. And you buff these. It works. It just kind of brings the plastic back around. You don't want to take it up to a big buffer, you know, the pedestal mounted buffer. That would really tear it up. This here just seems to have just what you need. I can see that this nose, this high hood is coming back around. This cab, roof. You know, this body's not cherry because we're missing this over here. But you're gonna see it. You're gonna, hey, look, there's one of them 19 something, 60, 61, 58. That one that Johnny Cash made, one part at a time. It'll look good sitting up there on the display, and it'll be shiny for 2 weeks, and then the dust will come in, and then that's it, I guess. Now I'm just stuck waiting for the chassis to paint to dry, probably because I put it on way too thick all at once, and it'll be like tomorrow afternoon before I can even start touching it again. So we're gonna polish this, clean everything up, start doing a little editing, get ahead of the game, and come back to it tomorrow. The downside about painting, it takes so long for the paint to dry. But is that hood? Oh, sure. Yup. That needs work. That's almost done.
Get the planes on.
Oh, Friday nights.
And I'll lay them out up here on the fenders so we can read on them. See how this thing was running.
I've always sat around and said that Lionel never made any of their own HO stuff, and I stood by it because, you know, don't let being wrong stop you from being certain. I heard that Athearn made trains for Lionel HO at the very beginning. Well, I did some digging, I did some researching on the Google machine, and I found out some more specifics. Lionel had an initial run of HO from 1957 to 1966. Let's break that down. 1957, Lionel's HO was imported and made by River Rossi. In 1958, Lionel had a contract with Athearn, and Athearn provided their HO products for him for a few years. And then in 1959, Lionel bought up a little company called Hobby Line that was making HOs, and then used their molds and started making their own stuff from 60 to 66. Now, this band drive that this is says that it's made by Lionel. I looked up and I found Hobby Town shells. They were all dummies. I don't know if this is a Hobby Line drive. I looked up the Hobby Line stuff. I found some on eBay, and all they were was dummies. The shells are identical. I mean, you could tell that, yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if this bed drive is a Hobby Line or if it's something that Lionel made and they jammed underneath that shell. It's I don't know, but it's definitely Lionel only. This didn't last very long. I'm kind of thinking that maybe that the Hobby Line drives were gear driven, because this is a really rare band drive version. They didn't make a bunch of the market didn't like them because they were band drives. They were weak. Lionel's HO offerings at the time were centered around spaceship, you know, missile launchers, exploding box cars, a lot of military stuff that looked a lot like their O-line. But HO guys didn't want toy looking stuff. They wanted to look as real as possible. So with this offerings, their HO stuff just spiraled right into the ground. And by 1966, it was all gone. And then during the MPC era of Lionel from 1978, you know, MPC brought back HO stuff. 1974 to 1977. This was made by Bachmann. Some of the first gen, like the daylights, the locomotives, made by Bachmann, sold under Lionel. Yeah, the first gen ones. That was, yeah, something that Lionel offered. And the American Freedom Train. It was a Bachmann made for Lionel. And then it went away in 1977 again. 1988, 1989, Lionel offered the rail scope. I did a video on one of those. It had the little video camera up in the front. So they pulled out their Alco PA1 shell, jammed the video camera in it. That was only for a couple years, and then it went away again. Not to outdo themselves, they gave it another shot again in 2003, 2004. And then it just, I don't know. I think Lionel was making them for themselves at that time. And then the last thing I seen from digging on the Google machine, 2016, they launched it up again for HO stuff. And then I don't know if they're still making it or not. Really, really poor research, I tell you. Kind of don't have answers for anything. But 2016, that's almost like a brand new, that's almost too new for the stuff that I do here. Holy moly, it's probably got DCC and everything else on it. Well, we got the video stopped. We might as well throw in classic model trains. This week's classic model. If you know who this is right here, throw it in the comments down below. If you don't, hang out until the end. I'll let you know who it is. Let's get back into this thing, get it put together, and see if we can get her running. Well, it's the next day now. We will prep this and get it ready to reassemble. Took forever for the paint to dry. Hoping that everything that I wanted it to do did what I wanted it to do. I did get paint all over one of these here where the light hooks onto it for the where the wire hooks onto it for the light. It fell off, I seen. But I think that we've got good things happening. I think I'm going to clean these up, this bolster. I got paint there, and I want it cleaner than that. For the juice to flow, you know. I'm going to put this back together. I remember that the electrical hookups were both on this side, and then the wheels, they all go to the same side because the thing right there. So these are going to go on like this. This is going to go in here like this. Then the motor, there's a little telltale of being hooked up right there. And of course, it only goes in one direction. So we're gonna go that route. This screw here, it's gonna hold that in. These don't make a lot of sense at all because they're all different lengths. Why? Why do they gotta be so long? Maybe we can clean that up. In fact, I think I will. Got our pickups coming in up to going on to this one right over here. 2 go forward, 2 go back. Get your fingers in there, get this in there, get that in there. Then I didn't wait long enough for it to cool. I pulled it apart. See this, there's some of these, they're just too long. Tin it. You always tin your connections before you go to solder them. I find it easier that way. Yep, this one's gonna go down to the truck. I'm gonna leave it long because we need to have some room to work. One truck, let's start on this other one here. Give it a little solder, something to work with. There, now we got a little something to start on. I'm gonna try these here. These are hair bands that I got from the Walmart. And I use these on the Hi-F drives. I'm gonna see if they're gonna work on this. Now they're flat. So that makes a little concern because they might not sit in this pulley groove very well. In fact, I don't think they're gonna sit in there very good at all. Shoot, they are too wide for that groove. They're gonna fit in this one well. I gotta go see what I got in my O-ring collection. Well, I've got a real problem now. I grabbed up this one, which seems to be about right. But O-rings, they're not made to be like rubber bands, and there's not a lot of stretch to them. And I broke this one. It's got the right thickness to it, but this isn't gonna work. And these ain't, oh, there it is. I wonder where you went. These ain't gonna work because they're flat. Now I gotta go to town and do some shopping to try to find out what we need because I can just tell that this isn't gonna work at all. Dang it. So off I go, solve this problem. Well, I took off and I went to the CVS pharmacy. And I found these little things here. I had $4 for them or something. They're a little thinner than what I had. And then I figured, well, I want to see if I can find thinner. You know, you're going to grab up whatever you can. So then I went to the dollar store and I found these for $1.25. And they are a lot thinner. So they got the stretch to them. I don't know. I gotta commit to something. So I went this route here. I don't know why I put that back in there. I need one. There we go. Then I decided to do a test run, putting all this together. That way, when I show you how to do it, it'll be easier for me. And let me tell you, it is a hassle. Look at that. I had one already ready to go already. Golly. We're going to lube up. Got the super lube. And we're going to lube up these bosses down under here where that jack shaft with the worm gears rides right up in here. In fact, I forgot to lubricate the gears on that first truck. I'll have to come back and do that. We'll go like this, just to give them some loving. Then you get the jack shaft. Then you put the little rubber band on it. Now, so far, this is all the easy stuff. Get that in there. And you really don't want to have the grease on the jack shaft, as you can imagine. So there's that. And in these things here, are the biggest pain I've ever seen. Other words were coming to my mind, and I had to edit myself because they've got this hook shape on them. You can't just like push them on and snap them in. Oh no, they were hard to get off, and they are hard to put in. So the best I could tell, and if these things are, if you got one that they're brittle, you are SOL, I'm telling you. I guess if these were broken off, what I would end up doing would be getting one of them baggy twist ties, you know, the metal ones, the little wire. And I would peel off the paper stuff on it, and then I would wrap it around this part here, and then use the needle nose, and I tighten it up a little bit. That's, you know, what I thought I'd have to do if it wasn't for these. Something to hold that jack shaft down, because the rubber band is pulling up on it. And then you got to spread it open and then push it down all at the same time. God, I think I got it. Yes. Poor. I think it's just a poor design. They couldn't copy Athearn though, because I'm sure they patented their little idea. So there. They are on. They're in there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this stuff right here. Carbon conductive grease. This filthy, filthy black liquid of Satan's spawn, because it just gets everywhere. I'm going to put a little taste right up in here just to help out. Throw this away because it's going to get, I probably already got some on my face. So then there's that. Pickups, make sure we have our pickups all on the same side. But now we got to come in and we got to get the rubber band, and it's got to go up there. We got our brass bolster pin right here. Get him in the top. This little feller. I got some new vacuum line right here that I've just got in my stash all the time. It's just always around. Cut that. Looks like it's about 1/2 inch. Put her in here. Dig up this rubber band. Get it on the drive. Oh man, I forgot to put a little bit of slickum right in here. Get this on the motor. Put that in. And spin it and give it a test. Spin it and give it, is it something? Something's happening. I'm not sure. So there's all that. I got to grease these gears up. And then I believe we can put it on the track. Nope, we got to do the axles. Right down here. They want love too. Flip it, have it facing downhill, do the other ones. And these trucks, they see how they move in and out? Poor. I'm gonna put these light bulbs back in because it helps us tell if there's the juices flowing. And then I got wire everywhere. I left the truck wires long so I could get them, have some room to work with them, you know. But now it's coming to rear its ugly head. Work on getting it out of the way. Let's see if this thing will go up and down on the track. Let's do this at the same time. So you either see my elation or my disappointment. Okay, we're twisting the wick and nothing is happening. Now we had lights. Honest to goodness. Is this thing flopping in the wind here? Well, goodness, now I got a wire broken off. Man, guess I got a cold solder joint in there. Messing around with all this. Having a solder buddy would be nice, but they don't make them big enough to hold all this stuff up. So we always look like a clown show trying to do all this. Here we go again. Put it all back together. I'm sure I've got grease on the motor. I'm sure I've got some of this grease on that rubber band. You have to. That rubber band is really quite stretched out now too. So I've got concerns about it. And I don't know if the motor is picking up its own ground, because that's what I think. Not 100%, but that's what I'm thinking. All right, let's try it again. Unleash the lightning. Well, what do we have? Motor's trying to do something. I can hear it. Well, what in tarnation? Come on now. Sure, there it is. The rear trucks are trying. Front one ain't doing nothing. Some bands I got grease on them and now they're slipping. That's awesome. Now what do we do? Complications are rearing their ugly head. Now I've replaced those two bands with some thicker ones. And I'm sitting here spinning this this drive line up here, these motor outputs, and one would expect that when you spin it, that you'd have axles turning. Well, you can see that the one on my left, nope, none of them. If I hold this truck in right here just a little bit, then I can get them all to turn. But if I don't hold it in, then it binds up. Ain't that something? So I've got this other one I made, the Texas Special, this Alco FA, and you see how it's melted right there? And I'll bet you dollars to donuts that this thing bound up just like this, and that's what this is. This is a heat shield that's supposed to sit over that motor to keep it from melting out the body. These trucks lock up and then they're done. That's fantastic. This one here's being held together with a piece of wire up in there. Holy, good thing I picked the right one to work on initially. What to do to keep that truck together? I've only had these things on and off 500 times now, and I'd almost have to say don't grease anything, because I keep getting grease all over the rubber band, and then of course it's going to slip. It's like, put it all together, make sure something runs, and then come by and maybe give it some light oil. I was trying to go the extra mile. See, what is this thing? They're on a non-conductive piece of flim-flam under here, I guess. I don't know how I'm supposed to keep those together. Shoot, that's doubtful this thing's ever going to run. And that is my story, and I'm going to stick to it. I mean, nothing works with you. So you got to have the rubber band over on this side, and then you jiggle stuff around, and then it's moving, and then it moves someplace different. And then this is in the way. I mean, one of the sorriest designs. Take this, put it on this, put it in there, put it in there. Everything's still on the right side? Yes. Spin the drive line. Nacho. Hold this one in, then they both turn. Let this one go. Only one turns. What a pile. I see that this is going to turn into another one of those takes 4 days to diagnose stuff. Say we got power flow. The lights, turn this off. You can see that the light bulbs are on. And then you move it, and then they're off. They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. Now they're mostly off. But look what happens as I move this thing down the track. Why do we have complete voltage dropouts? Right there. Now it's pagan. And it's just sitting there. Nothing's changing. So it's got some sort of an intermittent short going on somewhere in it, and you can flip it from forward to back. Sometimes, well, if it's got power, the armature will give a little kick. See it? We got some crazy going on in here for sure. I actually had it running one time. The camera wasn't on, of course, and the wheels were just spinning, and then the rear ones, of course, weren't. And then that's the only movement I've ever had. Now I can take the bands off, and the motor will spin. Here, I'll show you that. And she's working as you would expect it to work without the bands on. Huh. So these stupid light sockets creating havoc? Wouldn't put it past them. I'm pretty much just Hail Marying right now, trying to figure out what's going on. We get the digital multimeter out and we're in the horseshoe mode. We're looking for continuity, shorts. And I'm no pro, but when you measure across these, they're not supposed to be closed. They're supposed to be pretty wide open. So what's that all about? This is just good times right here. This one and this one, I mean, they're open. They shouldn't be. From here to here, sure. So why do they have continuity across them? Was it because of the chassis? See, now they don't anymore. What did I screw up? Ain't that something? It's Sunday now. All that fiasco was from Saturday, from about noon to about 4, messing around with that. And the depression spiral just set in, and I was having visions. So I thought it was time to quit. Me and the little lady went out for some supper, and then we found ourselves a new microbrewery here in town. And they let the dog, you can bring your dog in. So we sat there with the dog and had some beers. And now it's Sunday, and it's time to get back to it. I've got this frame completely stripped down, and we're just starting from scratch. I grabbed up another motor out of that other FA, and just got done remagging it, lubing it up, cleaning it up a little bit. Here, I'll show you. I put an 80 gritter on this thing right here, and boy, we can really dig in. So I cleaned up the ground paths through here and here. I cleaned up where the motor sits at, so we can get good juice. We got good magnetism, and I think I'm going to test the ground. This brush is isolated from this, but I'm going to make sure that there's getting a good ground into this one here. If it ain't, then I'm going to solder on one, and then we're going to start again, because it just doesn't have enough. Something's going on that's quite annoying. I don't need to film all this because you've seen me put it together once already, so I'll be back when it's all put back together and we can start diagnosing it again. I find this interesting. If you got just, a complete good circuit, you've got 0, 0 right there. And when I go on to this brush holder, and since it auto ranges, I don't know what that is. Is that 1,000? Is it 1,100? Is it 1? Is that 9? I think that we need to have, I'm going to put a ground wire on from there, and it's going to pick up right here. And because I want this circuit to be flowing as good as it humanly possibly can. I put a wire in there, soldered it over here, drilled a hole, tapped it, screwed it down. So I'm hoping that now we've got better. It should be like 0, 0, 0, 0. 0.01. Well, what do you do? We're gonna have better ground. Surely, it surely has to work. Here we go, reassembly process. Hey, here it is, all put back together. We've got a different truck on it right now, and I don't have the headlights in because I'm not gonna solder them in if I gotta take them back off. Twist the wick. Oh, well, that's better. Will it go the other direction though? No, it will not. There we go. Now, you're being a crab is what you're basically doing. Good Lord, I got a lot going on here. It is stiff. Stiff. Maybe some back and forth will help her out some, but it ain't shortened. So that's a benefit. And there is no slow speed performance. Golly. That's moving, so that's a benefit. I'm gonna give her some back and forth. I'm also gonna clean the track real quick to be sure that's not giving us any problems, because I would like it to be a little bit more consistent. It's moving, but it's getting like a D. We just experienced another short out event, and I think I've got it figured out here. The top of them wheels, you see that there's a gap between them and the chassis. And if you go back here, we got a low rider. Gets a little lower. It's for whatever reason, this bolster pin right here and the bracket going up to it is letting this truck sit low, and it's shorting out. Hoo-ah! I love finding problems. I was running it back and forth, and the old needles were just banging away, and the circuit breaker's tripping, and I'm like, what in Lord? And so I got in there because I'm relaxed now. I'm not all wound up tight like yesterday. Well, we're gonna pop this off again and see if I can bend that bracket right there and get a little more lift out of this thing. This is the truck that's opposite the brush holder. Just so I say that to myself so I can remember. Sure. Yeah. Broke that right off, trying to give it a little tweak. Dun, da, da, dun. I got to bust out a backup. Got a backup truck right here. So I got to clean this all up and prep it and get the band in it and put the truck back together. Yep, it's a long process. Well, we're starting to really get something here now. Got to get a coupler put on it. What I've done is I've just got the old 242 universal black boxes and some 148 standards. And I put it in the box like this. I took that hole that was down there in the frame. I drilled it, I tapped it for 256, and now I'm going to cut this lip off right here, grind it with the old and then I'm going to bolt that box on. And then we should have a nice coupler. And then when it's all said and done, it looks like that. And it looks like it's way too low. It does. That means I'm going to have to grind and grind and grind and grind on it. Absolutely. Looks good. Oh man, that's unfortunate. That needs an undershank or an overshank because that ain't no. Well, I took this pedestal, you can see it right here, in its normal state, and I grinded it. And I grinded it down and a down and a down and a down. And we're a lot closer now, but it's still off. Like a little under, more time. I'm never going to pull with this thing, probably other than this video. So I'm not too concerned about it. But this is where we're at now. Yeah, that's going to work. I bent the air thing up. Let's see how she runs. It runs a lot better. Let me show it to you real quick before we throw the body on. 5 volts right there. Yep. Nope. Pulls a full amp. Shut her down. Will she fire up without me having to... No, a little jumpy. She still might wear in some though. Heavy. Five volts. Then she stalls out. It's weird how it's a band drive, but yet it's got all that noise. I suppose a lot of that voltage draws those 2 big old light bulbs right there. Yeah. Let's get the body on this thing. I gotta tell you, I thought for sure I'd be working on this thing until the wee hours of the morning on Monday morning to get this video done. And it fell together. It finally fell together. So all we had to do was put in a different motor, and then we had to use 2 different trucks. So other than that, it was fine. It was fine. The chassis was perfect. Shorting out, the wheels shorting out on that chassis, creating the majority of that. Yeah, and I broke a truck, and it's a good thing I got 2 pieces parts for this thing. These 2 fellers here came from Peter Short out there in the Minnesota area. So they showed up, and it took away my problem of trying to figure out what am I going to work on this week. I'm always, what should I work on? What should I work on? No shortage of stuff to work on. Just what am I in the mood to do is what I'm trying to say. This one took forever. We're about at the end of this video here. This classic model of the week. Carly Simon out there. Yes, from the 70s, singer, songwriter, kind of gal. Ever since that news broadcast happened, a lot of things have been going on around here. We've gotten train collections that have showed up. We got more stuff that's going to be showing up here. It might be an entire modular layout. Could be showing up. We're putting that together. The amount of fellers that have joined the memberships. There's a button underneath there to become a member. Well, the names scroll onto the things. A lot of guys jumped on board with that. What I'm going to do, we got the body on that. We're going to let it play me off. That means I'm going to stop talking. We're going to show the thing pulling the load on the track. She's up and running, pulling stuff. We're going to let the channel members scroll by. Thanks all the 33%ers out there for hanging out and watching with me. I'm Ron, Classic Model Trains. Bye-bye. Actually, after getting done fixing it and whining about it, it's not that bad. I mean, it ain't made to pull 500 cars, but what it's doing here, I think it's just fine.